Hey everyone, my name is Vincent Potter. I'm a tool and die maker for the jewelry industry, and in this video, and in this video series that we're going to have, we're going to be stripping down and restoring this drop hammer. This is a drop hammer from about 1920, and so these are a little bit different from like forging hammers that you'll see blacksmiths have. This is pretty specific to the jewelry industry and the badge industry. These were all made in Rhode Island, which was primarily the home of the jewelry industry for the 19th and early 20th centuries. Um, and you would have your die in here that would have your image of whatever jewelry you're making, whether it's rings or pendants or brooches. They'd be cut in steel and put in here, and you'd literally stamp out your design. And they would have big assembly lines, and they'd have rows and rows of these. So we got a handful of these already, and we've got them in 400 pounds, 200 pounds, and then we've got a couple of 100 pounders, and this is one of them in need of restoration. So we'll take a look at it here. So this has been sitting idle for, I'd estimate, probably since the early 50s. And you can definitely see the paint stripping off, everything's rusted, and one of the clutch handles here is snapped off. We're just going to completely strip it down in this video, and start cleaning parts and seeing what needs to be replaced. I've been looking at it, and it doesn't seem it's in bad condition, but it doesn't seem like it ever got way too much use. Like there's a little bit of wear on the edge of this gear here. I'm not quite sure like what that is about, but it doesn't seem like bearings need to be replaced. So let's get into it. Yay!
Wow.
That's a good one.
Vulcanized canvas.
Delightful. All right, so I am up here on the ladder taking out these screws for part of the arm system on the pulleys. We just got the other ones off. It's this vulcanized canvas that's pretty dry rotted. I'm going to replace it with some better, more modern rubber here just because I don't trust this after sitting in a warehouse idle for, twice my lifespan. Yeah, I had heard rumors that these used to be made of, was it whale leather? Or like parts of like seals or something, just because most of these were used in Rhode Island, and Narragansett Bay is right by there. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if they may have just used regular leather. There we go. Not even a fight. See if you can pick it up.
Yep.
Yep. All right, pick it up.
Going?
Yeah. Whoa. You're all right.
Keep going?
No, it's gonna pull the tilt forward. It's not. It's good. Keep going. You're okay. Go. All right, you can back up now.
Alright, coming back as slow as I can.
It's okay. So you can finish stripping it down. That thing's heavy. Yeah. We've got all the rails off the drop hammer. We've taken off all the belts. We've removed the weight. And so now we're here to further strip it. So if you take a look down here, you can see that someone clearly at some point dropped the hammer with nothing inside the vise, and it messed up the threads on all of the screws. And I got to take them out. so that I can actually properly clean all this. This is where being a jeweler comes in handy. I'm just going to file these down and clean it up until we can pull it all out. While I'm here filing, I figure I will tell you a little bit about the history of this machine. So the concept of a drop hammer is really old. It dates back further than anyone can really specifically say. But at the very least to like the ancient Roman Empire. They would use it to strike coins and things like that. The automatic drop hammer, however, is a pretty recent invention, all things considered. So the concept of just having to use a clutch rather than having to raise a rope was developed by a guy named Frank Mossberg in the 1880s. Frank Mossberg was, I believe it was a Swiss. Yeah, I believe he was Swiss immigrant, born in 1856.
He came to the U.S. and moved to Attleboro, Massachusetts, which is also a big jewelry manufacturing center. And he became a tool and die maker and worked for a variety of shops for a while. Until I think 1889, he started his own company called the Frank Mossberg Manufacturing Company. And he wound up founding, I swear it was like 6 companies. Among the companies that he founded, he created a stamping company and he made drop hammers. And at one point it was called Mossberg and Granville. And they created the automatic drop hammer, which has the clutch mechanism that raises it back up for you.
All right, now we're at the fun part, needle scaling. So I'm needle scaling this thing, and I found something kind of interesting. So you can see there's layers of red paint, and that's kind of on a lot of different parts on this drop hammer. And that's evidence from early OSHA regulations that a moving part on the machine needs to be painted a contrasting color from all the static parts of the machine. At some point that was painted over, and it wasn't fully enforced, like way too much, but there's a lot of machines that are painted green with orange parts, and that was predominant across many factories a lot of times throughout the 70s. So just an interesting little tidbit there. So here we are, we're dragging it out. Just to get it in a good working area. It's funny watching it just move so easily. All right, so here we are. We're on the last portion. Everything else has been I guess other than the motor, but everything else other than the motor has been wire wheeled and what's the word?
Stripped.
Yes, stripped. Needle scaled is the specific word. So everything's all nice and bare. You can see all the Japanning, that which didn't chip away. And so we are on to the base now. And so normally how these things work is there's a clutch mechanism and you pull one handle up to pull the other handle up. And they snapped this handle off, and I think that was in the process of disabling the safety feature. So you only had to do one. I don't know what you would need your other hand for, but whatever. So we'll get a bolt and set that feature back up so you need both hands to run it. But from here, I'm gonna start needle scaling and stripping this down, and then we're thinking burgundy with some gold pinstriping, do all the letters. I'm thinking maybe an anchor right under the Rhode Island, USA. I think that'd be pretty neat. And some oak leaves across here. I think it'll look nice. Okay, after 3 days of work, we've got everything disassembled and all of the paint is off of it. So it's all pretty much just raw castings. So that finishes part one. We got our nice pile of lead paint here as our little reward for all of that needle scaling and stripping and wire wheeling. The next part that will be coming out soon is reassembly. So we're going to pick out a paint color, we're going to Bondo up all the holes, do any finishing work on the castings, primer it, paint it, reassemble it, pinstripe it, and get all the electrical stuff done. So maybe there will be a part 3, I'm not sure. We also have to reattach a handle that has been broken off for God knows how long. Yeah, so coming up soon, part 2 of the restoration of the Standard Machinery drop hammer. Thanks for watching.